Well, we begin with more shocks and surprises in British politics as the man who persuaded his country to leave the European Union has announced he doesn't want to be its Prime Minister. Boris Johnson says he's not the man to lead the country through one of the most uncertain periods in its history. There are now 5 Conservatives hoping to replace David Cameron in September. Haxi Myers-Belkin has more.
Many assumed the meeting would be his campaign launch. But in a shock announcement, Boris Johnson has said he will not be mounting a bid to become the next UK Prime Minister.
My role will be to give every possible support to the next Conservative administration and to champion the agenda I believe in.
The divisive and charismatic former Mayor of London may be out of the running, but his fellow Leave campaigner, Justice Secretary Michael Gove, is in. Gove had been tipped as a potential finance minister in a Johnson government and has in the past said he didn't want the top job. But an 11th hour U-turn just hours before Boris pulled out decided both their fates.
I have come reluctantly to the conclusion that Boris cannot provide the leadership or build the team for the task ahead. I have therefore decided to put my name forward for the leadership.
British Interior Minister Theresa May is considered the favourite to succeed Cameron. She wanted Britain to remain in the EU, but was never a key figure in the campaign. May has vowed to unite the country while respecting the outcome of the referendum.
Brexit means Brexit. The campaign was fought, the vote was held, turnout was high, and the public gave their verdict. There must be no attempts to remain inside the EU.
Junior Energy Minister Angela Leadsom, former Defence Minister Liam Fox and Work and Pensions Minister Stephen Crabb have also put their names forward, all eager to lead Britain into its post-Brexit future.
Well, whoever takes over as Prime Minister will have to negotiate a new relationship and new trade agreements with the European Union. Until that relationship is settled, there is a big question mark over Britain and Europe's economic futures. Well, for more, I'm joined on the line by Geraint Johnes, an economist at Lancaster University in the United Kingdom. Thanks for being with us here on France 24. We've been in something of a catch-22 all week, haven't we? Britain won't trigger Article 50 until it has an idea of what it can get from Europe, and Europe won't enter into any talks until Article 50 is triggered. Who is going to back down?
That's right. And the situation politically in the UK at the moment is that we're waiting for a new Prime Minister to emerge, and that to have a hand in developing the approach to negotiations with the European Union. So we're in a state of pause. Once the new Prime Minister is in place, Article 50 should be triggered, and we'll be in a better position to see what the way ahead might be. Now, there are 3 clear options that suggest themselves. One is to remain a member of the European Economic Area while withdrawing from the European Union, something like a Norway solution. Another is to negotiate a free trade agreement with the European Union, similar to that which negotiated, and another is simply to trade along World Trade Organization lines. So several options there. The one that currently looks the most likely is some variant of the European Economic Area. But there's a lot of negotiation that will have to take place along certainly 3 parameters there. The first of them is the contribution that the UK makes to the European Union for its membership of the EEA. The second is the issue of free mobility of labour. And the third concerns something called passporting, which effectively is the amount of access that the financial services industry in the UK will have in Europe.
Right, and how strong is the UK going into these negotiations? If we look at some of the figures, the UK population is more than 12% of the EU population. It is the world's, of course, 5th largest economy. That was bandied around a lot during the Leave campaign. It's a strong economy. It's got a strong market. The EU, of course, is a much bigger market. So how are these negotiations going to go? What kind of hand does Britain have to play?
Britain has a significant hand in the sense that, as you say, it's a major player in trade for the European Union. It's the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. However, clearly the rules of how negotiation will take place is skewed in favour of the European Union. And so Britain will need to make some concessions in the negotiations.
What kind of concessions? Free movement?
It's very difficult to tell how that will go at the moment. I would imagine that free movement and passporting will be to the fore. It may be that the UK government at the end of the day has to make a decision between economic prosperity and this issue of freedom of movement and migration.
All right, Geraint Johnes, thank you very much indeed.